Hello, students. We started off in our fifth chapter, that is non-reliable energy sources. We read about so many things related to your coal, your mining, isn't it, and the exhaustible resources of energy. Uh, Similar way, we are going to read about or learn about exhaustible product, one of the more uh, desirable product in the today's world, which is and the exhaustible source which is used quite in abundance, being petroleum. The crude oil, which is a naturally occurring liquid which is composed of organic chemicals, and petroleum, which has been one of the prime ingredients which is to be used in terms of fuel all throughout the world, and has been found in abundance in the earth crust, isn't it? And more so, which is there found in the Gulf countries as well as in American countries, where it is extracted in a big way, isn't it? The dependence of the human population on petroleum has been significant in last few centuries, and increasing population pressure has led to enormous demand, isn't it? Everything possibly which you use is uh, having a requirement of petroleum and its uh, petroleum products, isn't it? So the exploitation therefore picked up momentum. The reservoirs beneath the surface of the earth has started going down, and in last few years you had been advised, or the entire world is being advised to uh, let the usage of petroleum and its products go downwards, because being a fossil fuel, it is not in that abundance that it is going to survive for the so many years, coming years, where we can get used to using it time and again. So the chemical composition of petroleum is basically hydrocarbons, as we have already read, and the amount of sulfur and oxygen is also there. The petroleum contains solid, liquid, and gaseous material. It exists mainly in three types: the paraffin type, then asphaltic type, and the mixed base type. So these are the three types which it is there. You must have seen so many petroleum products, the grease, the mobile, and your petroleum, your petrol, isn't it? Then your plastics, then your so many other things which are um, being used, your wax and all. So all those products which are composed of petroleum has primarily these three types. As far as the formation is concerned, as we have already talked about, it is a fossil fuel. The remains of organisms or marine microorganisms are associated. They have settled quite a few number of years back, maybe hundreds of years, you can say. They have deposited there. The deposited material slowly becomes thicker, sinks down under its own weight in the sea, isn't it? And further deposition puts more pressure on underlying strata, and thus, while sinking down, the pressure and the temperature go on increasing to several hundred degrees centigrade, isn't it? So this happens under the sea, and wherever you find that petroleum is being extracted out from the earth crust. So the silt and the fine sands, they harden to form the shale, and the sandstone and the skeletal shells harden to form the limestone. The remains of the dead organisms transform the into crude oil and natural gas, and this is how the fossils get transformed, isn't it? So as the oil is formed, it flows upward, because you know that it is having a lower density as compared to the surrounding rocks. Quite often an impermeable layer of rock, like shale, comes in a way of rising petroleum. Further rising of a petroleum is stopped, and sometimes rising of petroleum comes out to the ocean flow. Small petroleum lakes are thus formed, and numerous gases, they escape out to the atmosphere. So this is how the entire process of deposition of the organic material is done in the sea, or maybe in the earth crust, and the oil which is low in density comes upwards, and it is there in the sea area, in the deep sea, or maybe in some of the earth crust as well, where the similar process of fossil fuel deposition is there, and that petroleum product, the petroleum or the natural gas, is stored in it. As far as oil exploration is concerned, how the extraction is being done and how it is being explored out of the earth crust, upwelling of the crude oil is not a recent phenomena. As I told, it is quite a few centuries back. It is known to man for the thousands of years, but it is used, the use of that was very limited because we didn't require it at that point of a time. Earlier it was used for ship caulking and waterproofing, or lighting torches, etc., isn't it? Even your petroleum product is this kerosene oil, which was used for that lighting purposes. At that time, the whale oil was available to the rich only, and tallow candles and unpleasant odor was there in it. So these kind of a usage was there centuries back, isn't it? So it was also, lamp fuel was there in 1852. A Canadian scientist, Abraham Geisener, was able to make lamp fuel called kerosene. So a few centuries back, he was able to find it out. That is the lamp fuel, that is kerosene. Then began the quest for greater supplies of crude oil, and the first oil well was dug in 1857 to 59. So some few 100 years back, it was done in Germany. Another oil well was dug in Pennsylvania in USA in 1859. That I was telling you that some of the countries of US are quite rich in this fossil fuel of petroleum, and the Gulf countries, isn't it? Many of you might have been to Dubai and the adjoining areas. You must have seen that the peoples are very rich out there. That is one of the big reason that they are very rich, because the oil extraction is certainly adding to the value of their net worth of money. So modern technology enhanced the oil extraction for the earth. Water injection is one such method in which water is injected into the oil well. This is one new technology that has come into existence in for some 100 years back, that there is a water injection which is being injected into the oil well. It builds pressure in the well. So the kind of well where the oil is there, that injection is being poured in the form of water, and it increases or it helps the petroleum being lighter, and it comes up. So it increases the efficiency by 60% of extraction, and the oil is thick or viscous. So the steam injection technology is applied, isn't it? And it is not that increases pressure, but also raises the temperature, that makes oil to flow easily. So that steam injection which is being done, so that viscosity is reduced, and the oil is able to float in. So that is quite an easy way when you inject the water steam injection, that the flow of oil is there, and it is very easy to then extract those oil from the underneath the sea, or maybe in the earth crust. Then there is offshore drilling. Increasing offshore drilling is something which is used in the flat areas. Increasing population pressure required enhanced oil production. After discoveries of oil wells on land, the next area to be explored was the ocean floor, isn't it? Many such areas were marked, and drilling was started by installing oil rigs. The oil rig rests on a platform whose legs are planted onto the ocean floor several hundred meters below the sea level. So it fixes the platform, and the successful bores, they have drilled up to normally 6.4 kilometer in the ocean floor. So offshore drilling is a part of that. Then refining. You must have you must be knowing of places like Jamnagar and then Mathura, which is in the UP itself, where refining is being done. The petroleum products refining means it is being refined. Whatever raw thing is being received, it is being refined. ठीक है ना? Refined oil, you, what would we eat? Refined oil, soybean oil, which is very much being in use in your house. It's not a petroleum product, but refined, that word is being used, refined, isn't it? So refined is something better from the raw product. So refining of oil is being done in Mathura and Jamnagar heavily. And one of the key companies of Ambani's, that is Reliance, is associated, isn't it, for refining. And that is quite a huge process, very labor intensive and very money intensive. So after the production of crude oil, it is refined with chemicals and heat, and water solids and natural gases are separated. And then the oil is stored in the tank for the usage. A wide range of constituents of crude oil are separated out in the orderly manner, means one by one it is being done. And this you will be coming to know while you will be knowing about the extraction process, how this extraction is being done, which are the ingredients which are extracted at a very low level of heating, and then the middle ones which are heated to get the products which are conducive to that kind of heating temperature which is required to extract out of it. So this you will learn in your later stages of your learning. So gasoline or petrol is the first to be separated, because that comes out in a much more lower temperature if it is being done. So place where crude oil is refined is called an oil refinery. So that is what we were talking about earlier. Then environmental issues are one of the key issues regarding exhaustible energy sources, because the environmental problems or hazards are manifolds. As far as mining is concerned, several environmental problems are associated with petroleum drilling and extraction of the oil. And a major problem is of oil spill in petroleum kind of extraction. Oil spill, you must have heard many a times. It so happens that yes, those spill is there in the sea, and it is very difficult to arrest that spill, because it is lying all around. It is being, its density is being lower, it is floating all throughout, and all the marine life is disturbed out of it if there is a spill. Even if a tanker which is uh, trying to transport it from one country to another has a oil spill, it takes so much of time and worth and money to arrest that spill, and that is not easy to do. So as soon as that spill is there and the oil is floating above, the oxygen is not able to enter inside the sea, and the marine fishes and so many other things which are lying, all the flora and fauna which is underlying in the sea, they do not get the oxygen. Or maybe filtrated sun, which is the prime source of energy even in your marine life, is not reaching out there. And so there is a lot of hazards, because flora and fauna dies for a particular area where the spill is there, and it spreads like anything, and then you get to be disturbed. The marine life is disturbed in that case. So that is one kind of an environmental hazard that you look forward to while you are extracting and using this kind of a resource, which is a non-renewable energy source. Then using petrol causes a lot of troubles. Once again, a large amount of fossil fuel which is burned in the industries and transport. After burning, a variety of chemicals and particulate matter are released into the air. You must have seen so many signboards out there in some big places out there in Lucknow, where they show you the particulate of environmental uh, hazardous things in a particular unit, which is hazardous to us, isn't it? And the most of the pollutants contain carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen, as we are already discussed that it is made up of hydrocarbons, and those are the unburnt hydrocarbons which are released into the atmosphere, and that causes environmental hazards. So this is all chemistry which we are talking about in this, isn't it? Then when we were talking about your uh, flora and fauna, we were talking about biology. So this environmental science which you are learning, EVS, composes of all the sciences together. So when we were talking about drilling, it is all about the physics which we are talking, isn't it? So the drilling machines are there. Or maybe when we are talking about the injectable which is used, or a steam injectable which is being used to raise the level of the, or spilling of the uh, oil, then we are talking about physics. So environmental science is one such thing which is very scientific, associated with science. And science itself now has been uh, grouped together in the form of science. uh, Earlier when we were learning, it was bifurcated in the form of physics, chemistry, and maths, and other lot many other as well. But now the education is think that yes, of your age, or even later, those composition or the grouping should be so that it should come out in a team way, teamly way. So all physics, chemistry, and bio needs to be put together. Though you are learning in NCRT in that manner only, where physics, chemistry, and maths are there in the one book, and you do that. So science is something which is or uh, intergrouped, isn't it? It is composed of all those things. So you can see just when we are talking about all this nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen, and then when you come up to our lab, you will be finding so many ingredients which you will be using out there has such significance. So, and then the chemical reaction with the presence of ultraviolet sunlight becomes very dangerous. Major effects of burning fuels are acid rain, which we have already discussed. Then smog. Smog is something which is smoke with your water vapor, isn't it? In winters, many of the times we are able to have a one-to-one seeing with smog, isn't it? Because of the kind of smoke and the water vapor which is there in the form of the mist gets stuck up, and you are not able to see it anything which is quite far off, isn't it? In earlier times, the mist used to be there, or we were not able to bifurcate the smoke part of it. Now, the smoke, which is associated with so many chemicals in the form of non-renewable energy sources that is put onto the environment for a period of time, we are able to have a one-to-one this one-to-one with the kind of smog which we are able to see. So, as far as natural gas is concerned, they are also fossil fuel made up of hydrocarbons, and the constituents are mainly methane 85% and ethane 10%. Its major impurities are nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. Uh, they are removed during the process of refining. So we talked about refineries. What they are doing, that they are removing this kind of bad elements which are a part of the natural gas. They're trying to refine it, making it better. In petroleum, in your petrol pumps as well, you will be finding that there is one special category of petrol which is some name is there, I'm not recalling it right now, which is different from the most of the other petrol which is being served out there, and that is the costlier one. So it is having a lesser amount of these pollutants in that particular petroleum. I'm not able to recall that name, special name of that petrol which is available in the petrol pumps. As far as the uses is concerned, natural gas is used as a fuel. It is used in cooking, furnaces, water heaters. It is also used in kilns, brick kilns, isn't it? जहाँ पे ईंटें बनते हैं, ईंटे का भट्टा, to have baked bricks and ceramic tiles which is being used in your houses. Cement is also manufactured with the help of the fuel which we come across. Then other uses of gas as fuel are glass making, and then your food processing, making steam in the water boilers. As far as the natural gas are concerned, they are used as a raw material in your industries, as a raw material in its having a major use in the manufacturing of your petrochemicals. So these chemicals are derived from the gas as well as petroleum. Uh, as far as the gas exploration is concerned, records show that natural gas was used in China even during 250 AD. Okay, after death. So it is so long available on the earth crust. In the 17th century, it was used in Italy to heat the houses, and it was also used for lighting that we have already discussed. During these times, it was not possible to transport. Many of you might not have seen lantern, or maybe the small debris, though you're not might be knowing. I don't know the exact transformation of debris in your English. You might ask your parent that we in our time used to use a bottle and one thread like thing which kerosene was filled in that, and we used to read while the load shedding was there. There was no light in that particular time. There was a break in the electricity, and that was lantern, and that was being used. Most of you are not aware of the fact because you have come up in a generation of generators and your inverters and all, and you have not come to that particular pollution free and pollution polluted environment that we have been exposed to. We had to complete our work, or maybe the homework, or maybe we have to prepare for our exams, and we were having a limited usage of, we were not having those generators and all. Every one was not able to have those, and inverters were not there. So only those generators might be, uh, it was there at that point of time, but it was with the richer ones. So we used to get that in the form of candles or lanterns or debris that we are talking about. You can ask your mother, your father, or maybe your grandfather. They will be telling you regarding that, isn't it? So these were the things which were being used at that point of a time. Then mining. First of all, the regions they contain natural gas were marked, and the areas drilled to make a well, and the pressure of natural gas was so immense that it comes out of its own. So as far as environmental issues are concerned, regarding this refining, after its extraction, it is transported to refinery, that we have already come to know. And then environmental issues are also troublesome because it has high content of methane. Hydrogen sulfide and sulfur compounds are major pollutants in the natural gas. They can damage production, transportation equipment. If burnt, they can cause environmental pollution in a big way, including acid rain. So with this, we come to an end of chapter 5, that is non-renewable energy sources. I will be giving you a PDF consisting of question answers and MCQs. So you need to write it in your notebook as soon as you get it back. And many of you have not completed your entire question answer series of chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to write it immediately as soon as you receive it, and complete your MCQ work in your book only. And this fifth chapter, the PDF, you will be getting it as soon as you receive it. You need to write it. Okay. Good day, students.